Speak loud so they can hear you.
My name's William Sizemore. Past 10 years of my life, me and my father here have we've took care of the cemetery. We've mowed, we've weed eated, we've reset tombstones. He's done it all his life, just like his father before him. For a fact, the cemetery is well over 100 years old, as we've already stated. Of course, it's not going to look like a brand new cemetery or something like Memorial Gardens. But those are our families there. My great-grandparents there. My great-great-grandparents there. It's not right. How would you feel if someone mowed down your family cemeteries? You know, some of y'all have lost mothers and fathers. How would you feel if it was their cemetery being torn down? And that's where I can't stand it. He has memories there with his father. I have memories with him. You tear that down, you take our memories away. My family. I never met my grandparents, my grandfather, but that's his dad. That's his great-grandparents. That's his grandparents up there. It's not right.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yep. I'm Dennis Sizemore, great-grandson of John Fox Sizemore. Maternally and paternally, I probably got 4 different sets of grandparents up there. Jim and Margaret, my grandparents. John and Martha, my great-grandparents. But I also have Martha's father up there, Robert Cody Burns. I also have Margaret Lucy's parents up there. So everybody in that cemetery is connected, either by blood, family line, somewhere or another. And what are we in this country if we allow a cemetery to be moved just for the sake of moving? It's not right. We're setting a precedent that God only knows where it's going to take us. I know you wouldn't want somebody to come move your cemetery, would you?
They moved every one of mine over yonder.
And that's
never
not
asked me.
And it's not right.
They never even asked me.
Johnny, would you want yours moved? Nobody wants it.
No. You know me my whole life right there. I think my dad would be, be okay with me to move to help future generations.
No, William.
Everybody feels different now.
Well, everybody's got their own opinion. I agree with that.
Right. And I respect your opinion, Danny. I respect your opinion.
But, they say the cemetery has been abandoned. No, it's not. I am 56 years old. My whole life we took care of. The only times that I have not been up there to mow that cemetery since I was probably 10 or 12 years old is the 4 or 5 years that Estel Hoskins had us blocked off and Mary Lou Phillips took him to court to open up the right-of-way. Now that should be on record somewhere or another. Mary Lou got so fed up with fighting with Estel over that she moved her dad and brother to the Bromley Cemetery. So no, it's never been abandoned. There's been a couple other years that I've been sick, not able to get up the hill. But I went when I got well. I've always took flowers, Memorial Day. So no, it's never been abandoned. And that's all I've got to say about it.
I wish you'd take our feelings into consideration. There are room for the baseball field there and the cemetery there. You can have both. You don't have to get rid of one and not have the other. Our ancestors are there. It's their bones. It's not. They'll take a backhoe and they'll dig their bones up. They're not in steel vaults. And that tears my heart out, the thoughts of them taking a backhoe and dipping their bones up. Maybe it's different for you. But that physical aspect of that tears my heart out. And that's something that I won't get over if they do that to my family. My great-grandparents are up there. My great-aunt, John Asher, his sister married Hiram Hoskins. Hiram Hoskins Fittins fought the Civil War. He bought that land in 1906. He buried himself there and his whole family. He fought, I mean, that's the freedom. He fought for the freedom of this country, and he buried himself there, and he buried his whole family there. He should stay there because of that. They've got 140 acres. Can't they coexist? Can't they both be there, a baseball field and the cemetery? And that's all I have to say.
Angela, do you have anything you want to add?
It's all been covered pretty
Sure. Do you want to talk about the Burns connection, OBI, or any of that?
well. There is Robert Cody Burns, a Civil War veteran, buried there May 30th, 1897. He fought in the 24th Kentucky Cavalry. His nephew was James Anderson Burns, who was the founder of Oneida Baptist Institute. So there is a historical significance concerning the Burns family in that cemetery.
I believe there's also a Korean memorial for a
Yes.
Korean soldier that was killed in action. Do you know anything
Yes.
about that?
Virgil Lewis passed away in 1945, killed in the military.
I think the memorial was for Finley.
Oh, Edward Finley,
That
yes.
was just killed in action?
Yes, missing in action, then
And that memorial, as far as I know,
Right.
is placed there by the
the
Veterans of Foreign
VFW.
Wars.
Mhm.
And that is government property. And
Yes.
it's my understanding that should not be.
Right.
Desecrated.
November 1950 is actually when they declared him to be passed away.
So there's a total of, is it 5?
5 veterans.
I'm asking you, is it, how many
Yes.
veterans are there?
5.
5 veterans are
Mhm.
there? Does that include the one killed in action?
Yes.
Okay. So there's 4 actually buried there and a memorial for one that was killed in action?
Yes.
On behalf of the, as I've said before, the veterans and the Native Americans and myself and anybody who has an interest in federal, state, or local history or genealogy and just protecting our history and respecting our dead, I respectfully ask the Fiscal Court to say no to the petition of the Clay County Board of Education to relocate the cemetery. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley, people that come.
I have one last thing I wanted to hand out, if I could, and these are just some statements from some of the Native Americans that I basically just printed off Facebook. I didn't know if a lot of you had seen those, and it does talk about how they feel like this ground is sacred and how they feel like it would be detrimental to their souls to be moved, graves to be bothered or touched or disturbed in any way. And so I want to make sure everybody got a copy of that. Did I get one to everybody? And that's the last thing I have. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Shelley, and you people. Board said discuss this at a later time and try to get things lined out on it. And next thing on the agenda will be Clay County Board of Education.